another question. If I work with Byte Consulting, how much will it cost and how long will I have to work with Byte Consulting? Well, the simple answer to this question is it depends on what services that you use with Byte. We have a range of services, in fact 10 different key services, which can all be purchased in advance, up front. Alternatively, you can work out how to pay for some of those services when you successfully find a contract job. Alternatively, you can use our job search coaching services and opt for the no job, no fee guarantee, where we will share the risk that you take in trying to find a role. We won't actually make any money unless you're successful and find a contract role, and when you do, we make our money through the margin, i.e. the difference between the charge that we level at the client and the money that we pay you as a contractor. So this is a very, very successful and helpful way to actually engage people. If, however, you use Byte services and gain a permanent job and not a contract job through Byte, Byte will level a fee at you for the services that you've used. Essentially, in most cases, you're opting for a service with an agreed fee, and you either pay this in advance or pay it through the gross margin paid when you are a contractor. And if therefore you take the permanent job, we've got no alternative but to charge a training fee. All the fee structures for the different services that Byte provides are all available on the job services page on the Byte Consulting website, that is www.byteconsulting.co.uk. It's pretty clear, and there are discounts available for those that buy in bulk. If you use Byte's job search training or CV and marketing services and gain a contract with Byte Consulting, you are being contracted for a minimum of 65 working days. So if you obtain the contract and it's actually shorter than 65 days, you'll be expected to work a second contract to fully pay for the services that you receive. However, if your contract is longer than this, you're obliged by accepting the contract to work the term of the contract. However, after 65 days, we'll lower the fee that we make, the margin that we make, by at least 33%. So it drops, in fact, from 15% down to 10%, and you get more money. So if you use our job search training or CV and marketing services and gain a contract with Byte Consulting, you're being contracted for a minimum of 65 working days. So if your contract is shorter than this, you're expected to work a second contract to pay for the services that you have received. If, however, the contract was longer than the 65 days, then you're obliged to accept the contract renewal or the term of the contract that you've accepted, and if that then goes to say 90 days, the remainder of the days over and above 65 days will be reduced to a lower margin and the money that you get increased, i.e. it drops from a 15% margin to a 10% margin. Once your initial contract is complete, any subsequent renewals have to be placed through Byte Consulting and terms agreed. You cannot choose any other organisation to contract through, and this is normal recruitment or contract law. In fact, there has to be a gap of 6 months or more before you're allowed to return to the client. And indeed, other organisations quite often make this gap 1 year. So this is quite reasonable and nothing out of the norm that Byte is expecting. You're not obliged to work with Byte or the client after completing your contract or working 65 days and giving notice and observing the contract notice terms. You can leave and move on looking for employment or contract assignments elsewhere, either through Byte or with Byte's help, or perhaps choosing no longer to use Byte. We would hope, however, that you would decide with Byte, firstly, A, do you like contracting? If you do, good. B, do you like Byte and you're happy with Byte services? I would hope you would be, and you'd like to use our services again. And then finally, what services would you like to use? What would you truly benefit from in using Byte for a second or third time? And you'd be able to get these services at much reduced rates, as we would reward loyalty and welcome you as a member of the Byte family.